Press the right button. Oh, hold on. Before. Damn, I did not prep this. Also, Heels, yes, they did this thing with like channel points, where like you can spend channel points to do stuff, and it's a weird thing, but I kind of like it. I have no idea what I want to do for it, but I dig it. Hopefully, well, nothing's changing. Mr. Wright, what? Are trials always like this with you? Like you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake about to reach the surface. No matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except today, we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your, so what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner. Oh boy. Man, when you get 500, you're gonna suggest for me to play Socrates Jones. You don't actually. I mean, all right. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a youngin', at least. Officer Marshall. Thought I'd come take a look-see to see how the trial, or a look-see at at how the trial's going. Freaking English, man. Looks like I'm late. They've got the home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in the enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What is going on over there anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now, don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day, too. She was wearing a red muffler. What? At the awards ceremony that afternoon, Edgeworth's seen it too, I'd reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, he wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Ooh-wee. You don't have to spend points to recommend games. I just put that there. You know, so maybe like people see it and they're like, oh, I could recommend a game to this guy. Instead of just me asking, saying something. I'd like to resume. What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused, you're doubled over, your back is bent. It can't be. This can't happen. I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Well then, I believe it's time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable. It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me, knock knock. Who's there? Oh dear. What's with this guy? Strange, stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he? Yeah, what else are you gonna spend them on? Got some weird eyes, yeah. It's you. I believe that's the Rinnegan from Naruto. Oh, I was like, did my game freeze or like, you know, something? Sorry I'm late, Udgy. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, Udgy. How you been? Swim much these days? Hello. No, I've been busy. Busy smizzy, Udgy. My boy, you have to make time to relax. I'm so confused. Yes indeed. Udgy. Seems to be his nickname for the judge. I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? So you're Righto. The attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks. Sorry about our little worthy giving you all that trouble. You know, we should all go swimming together sometime. Golly. Little worthy? Mr. Wright. You don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Name's Gant. Damon Gant. Damon Gant. Damon Gant. I don't know where the joke is there either. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. Miss Starr wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But to think that it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. A little Worthy's car, no less. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What is that supposed to be? It kind of reminds me of like, if you wanted a lightsaber, but you couldn't have a lightsaber look like a lightsaber, you would make it look like that, and it would just be like a sword beam coming out of there, you know, with like a pointy end. What's this? It's what you'd call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth, how could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document where it says, Person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature, is there? Miles Edgeworth. That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had your head in the clouds because you got that, oh man, for some reason I saw award and I thought he was like saying some weird word like award or something. Oh dear, reading is hard. I know how you feel, but you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, but it keeps on getting tied to anime stuff. So I think it's an anime thing. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. Should have seen him the first 2 trials I went up against him. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. The court accepts this new evidence, but I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. I don't get why this is Edgeworth's fault. Since when is a prosecutor the like the person in charge of stuff? Just to be sure, I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor. Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? Yes. Well, I think all you have to do is push that switch, and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. This is not me. You know I move these things much faster. It's a furry thing, you're pretty sure? Same reason you have to do all the legwork and walk around to find evidence for the defense, you assume? I guess. Go ahead and check out some stuff first. The small tag on this knife seems to say SL-92. What does that mean? Well, I've heard something similar before. I want to say it was on that piece of paper, maybe? DL-6 of the DL6 incident fame. But it's strange. Huh? What is? I'm not certain, but I get the feeling I've seen this somewhere before. Letters like this, or letters that looked a lot like this somehow. Oh, what's going on right there? Like, oh, fingerprints or something? Alright, go ahead and, that was pretty good. Don't scare me like that. I'm the one who's scared. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? Oh, it was wrapped in the defendant's muffler. Interesting. This does not excuse the police, or this does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. Terribly sorry, but can I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife? Sure thing, not a problem. Not even a little one, really. Why is this happening? This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman, that was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. The detective was killed at the police department, see? What a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence. Not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department. A detective? That's hush-hush information, Udgy. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Wait a second. You said 5:15? That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Order. Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright? 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my rights to cross-examine the witness. Very well, however, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. This is really weird. We'll press everything. I should have saved. Excuse me, special? Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Sorry, Righto. But I can't say that now. Not that. We've established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? It's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something, a muffler. Go ahead and save right now. And then I also... So if I turn that around, that could look like SL-9, which I think is the tag. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Wait, how'd the knife get from one murder to the other instantly? I'm guessing Edgeworth was at the police department. And it was put in his muffler somehow. And then he drove... No, actually it doesn't make any sense. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm sure the game is going to explain things. So that would mean this is 221. I know, I have to like turn my head to see these things. So that's the date. And this is the date. So 221 is the day of the murder. Alright, unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. I believe I have evidence. This knife was found on the scene of our crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? See, there's a lot of things that go on at the department I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto. Maybe there's something about the knife that will give us a clue. Let's examine that knife while we can, Righto. Evidence that links this knife to Detective Goodman. I think perhaps the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the piece of evidence that's had me stumped all this time. So how are things down at the department? Can I just inspect the knife? A button? It won't let me... Like, there's... like smudge marks or something, and I can't analyze the actual blood or anything like that. Should be doing a DNA analysis on that. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. Something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look in your eyes there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. So something did happen. And why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy. What with Lana's case and all. Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? Detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department. That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Udgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. Suppose I could help. If you help me by giving me data on your case. Oh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. Okay, where the victim was found, probably at the police department. How the victim was killed, probably the most important thing. When the victim died, it was at the same time, so it was the same day. So how the victim was killed seems to be the best thing here. And I'm guessing it's going to be a stab wound. Well, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we found in the force Or it was what we in the Force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit. We're cooking now. But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same time. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. This guy is basically saying, hey, these cases are actually totally and completely linked. But unless you give me evidence that they're linked, then I can't really help you. Kind of silly. Seems like I'm going to have to press this a bit harder. I'm in a crime, yeah, scary coincidence. 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident. Unofficially linked to this case here, so I can't much talk about it. How can you say there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Righto. You understand. Try to understand, Righto. Well, if you can prove there's a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I'd better find and get to the bottom of this. Two detectives were killed at 5:15. One at the prosecutor's office, one at the police department. Can't be a coincidence. And that knife. What was it doing there? I better check this knife out. You can press the statement again to ask him another question? That's a good question. We'll go back to that one. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Excuse me? Oh, I already did that. Yep. Ah, look at you, Heels. So they were stabbed. Where was the victim found? So tell me, where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room? What the heck was that? I just lost the monitor. I just lost a monitor. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Blah, 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 in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? You wouldn't know about the evidence room, would you, Righto? Can't say I've heard it. Guess I should ask again once I learn a bit more about this evidence room. There's something stranger about this whole... stranger about this than the place where the body was found. Alright, so we'll press it one more time. And we'll get the definitive statement on, him being dead at the one spot. When did the murder at the police department occur? It's a sharp question, Righto. Very sharp. Well, my boy, you're gonna love this. Okay. Wright should know about the evidence room. Karma attacked him in there. Last case. That was the records room, actually. Which, I guess is slightly different, I guess. Okay. Let's go ahead and save here. And let's present this. Okay, I guess it's not time for that yet. Not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. The I pressed... It was this one. Well... I mean... Anyone who's anyone can clearly tell that these are totally linked. But fine. I think you need to present that on the earlier statement. It says they're not related. This one? Okay. Right here. There you go. Okay. Wait a second. At last, an honest-to-goodness objection. This knife. This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? An honest-to-goodness, what do you mean from Udgy? This is great. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important. Why? Over here, we also have a memo that was written on, that was on the body of the victim. What's this? 6 minus 7S, 12/2? Your Honor, it's upside down. Upside. The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? Aha! Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing that is written on the knife's tag. Order! Well, Chief? Ah, well. Guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, righto. I win? What game is this guy playing? This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence. Save. Evidence room. So this knife was stolen. Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say. Was it, in fact, a murder weapon? Nice, nice. Good show, Little Worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved. This knife was stolen on the day of the murder. It was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. It was a bad day for the police department. We weren't in any shape to... Wow, so I have to present something else? Okay, good. They turned it around. So where else do I have to go with this? Detective account. Can't be a coincidence. And a knife. What's it doing there? I'm gonna go for a Hail Mary and present the switchblade knife. Alright, and I failed. Matter of fact, just because I can, save myself 2 points. Alright, so I'm gonna press this one more time. It was stolen on the day of the murder. It was a murder weapon. Okay, so the time of the crime was that, but it was in Edgeworth's car. So next, try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Alright, so I'm going to present this conundrum. I mean, I guess it's not really... I guess that really doesn't get me anywhere. Well, I guess it could bring up if Edgeworth was at the police department prior. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'm going to present the ticket here. Alright. Somehow... Okay. Wrong button. I wonder why that wouldn't do anything. If the murder happened at 5:15, you would need to establish that the stolen knife was used in the police department murder? No, that's not one. The stolen knife was used in the police... the stolen knife was used in the police department murder. Oh, so maybe now I can present the switchblade here to tell him, hey, these cases are linked. Or not. Game is hard. Just repress everything. You have no idea what you're supposed to present. Least moment too high. Yep. Yeah, alright. Sharp, hungry. Why don't you ask? And the detective was in the parking lot. And the detective was killed at the police department. Right, blah, blah, blah. Perpetrator, suspect. Right. A lot of unanswered questions. Suppose you can only give us data. Give us one thing. Oh, he was stabbed. Yep, funny coincidence. Please tell us more. And say there's no connection. I'm the chief of police. We just proved that there was connection. Alright, so I guess I'm going to... I'm gonna do another Hail Mary here, and I'm gonna present the thing, piece of paper, right here. This is stupid. And I didn't do a dang thing. I didn't do a dang thing. I don't remember the timestamp on that. We can see maybe if this has any more information. Nope. Okay. We're just gonna start going all over the place. I literally have no idea. So if they're not linked, two people were stabbed on the same, basically at the same time, blah, 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 blah. Let's try Edgeworth's knife. Nope. You need to press at the part where you ask questions. I think it's this one. Wright makes a statement that it needs to press further on that. That's the only hint you think we have. And what do I press? I guess I'm gonna try this again. Oh. Try. Press not. Well, I had already went through. I pressed everything prior, but I'll press again. Oh. I could go with the where he was killed, maybe? I mean, he told us it was the evidence, but... Alright, so tell me where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can't say the crime took place in the evidence... Okay, the evidence room. Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? Knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the apartment. This is, this one was... This is where this game really shows itself being a game. Like... This shouldn't have been necessary. We should have skipped to the next phase of the case after he himself was like, huh, I guess they are kind of linked, huh? There's a connection between the two cases. Seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy. We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. It still won't go. It still won't go. All right, so is it gonna be the note or is it gonna be the knife? 50-50. Let's go with the knife. Nope. This is so stupid. So stupid. I just want to move on. Come on. Watch it not be this either. Let's just press it then. Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. I wish you could have just said that instead of me having to do anything. You don't say. Well, out with it, Righto. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. Connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number to the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in the very same evidence room. Indeed, there do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. Hate how he does that. The two make a good pair. Took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all. Can we get the information unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay? You're going to tell us a little. Why not tell us everything? Well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Alright. What do I think is important? Division, ID number, gender. I feel like none of this stuff is important. We'll just start from the top. Okay, well, what division was the victim stationed in? Oh, you want to know that, do you? Do you? Criminal Affairs, Division 1. The detectives responsible for homicide cases. Homicide, that would be the same division as Detective Gumshoe. Detective Goodman, who was killed in the underground parking lot, was homicide too. Almost like a serial killer was after homicide detectives. Except this serial killing happened simultaneously, scientifically speaking. Well, I sure hope Detective Gumshoe isn't next on the list. 2 detectives were killed at 5:15. Went up to the prosecutor's office. Nope. Okay. Pretty sure you're going to repress the other questions? Well, that's about what I'm going to do. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all. You keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. Number is... Excuse me? Think we have a problem here? I believe the actual thing here is Houston. We have a problem. I also have 3. Oh. Ooh, that's really lame if this actually does that. Well, that's quite long. And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 8-2, I can do it. You even get the first number right. Gasp. You had an identical twin? You hope you're kidding? I'm guessing somebody forged his ID and something. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? The ID number of the victim at the police department. This tells me something. I kind of want to say it doesn't tell me anything, but it tells me something. I should have saved right there. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I can save right here. I'm going to cheese the rest of this game because it's going to pull some bullcrap on me. Think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. What does it tell you? Witness? What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on a prom night. Oh, but you let him just stand there on the witness stand, just chilling, you know, staring at us with his freaking Reningon eyes. My goodness. No, it's just, I got confused. And this is news? Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. Police department and the prosecutor's office, 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Well done, Heels. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh, is it yours? No, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, Righto. Personnel IDs are top secret. Detective Goodman's ID number is that number. And this means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82. I've forgotten. Didn't even get the first number right again. The number the chief of police gave us was that number. Wait a second, Wright. What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The 2 ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Sharp as a tack, Righto. Sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet a Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room at the exact same time. That's impossible. What we're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time, in a completely different location. It's now a custody battle over who gets the victim. Order. Chief, what does this mean? No. What I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case. Now just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error. Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. What? How? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news. Officer Meekins? Never got to speak to that guy. Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait. That guy. Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief. Got your report, sir. You don't mean him. According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said that a report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. But sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I... Here he goes. No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy? What? Now, what was the second rule of evidence law? Well, Mr. Wright? Oh, well, it's, Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. Connection was just proven by Righto over there. Good job, Wright, my boy. I was just doing my job. No. Man, they've got it in for Edgy Hard? Yeah. Or Edgeworth, man. It seems we have to come to the end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy. What with all those rumors. You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened. It's the last thing I do. You better get results this time, really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Or Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Well, whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned. Dang. So I wonder if I lost my monitor because I swapped to my other cable. Which is actually kind of weird because, like, the monitor over here is back. Go ahead and mark that.